But we're gonna look in the vault. And we're gonna play the Avenger level, but we're also gonna have a look at some of these other things. So, pre-rendered images. The briefing room. The render offers an alternative perspective of the room where Kyle Katarn is briefed by Mon Mothma prior to his mission on Tele, which was ultimately discarded. So it looks very much like the Return of the Jedi briefing room, doesn't it? I wonder if George Lucas looked at it and used the general style of it. Oh, we can click on them. Yeah, this one here. Oh, and we can zoom in and everything. That's awesome. Oh, I love this. So you can look at the details of that. So Kyle was sitting on one of the chairs while Mom was at the holoprojector. And then the executor interior. Renders of the executive breach where General Mock converses with Darth Vader during a cutscene from various angles and stages of completion. And you can see that they kept it relatively basic and bare, where you only see part of it in the cutscene, and that works really well. These renders showcase Jabba the Hutt's ship from multiple angles and were specifically designed for utilization in cutscenes. Wait, is there multiple? Oh, there is a next image. Hang on. We need to look at next image. Oh yeah, that's much more detailed than this one. It's interesting how it looks more pixelated as well than back here. It's like they just cropped it. Yeah, these ones have the skybox as well, whereas this one just has black. Yeah, that looks like a cropped version of that. And that's back to that. Okay, Jabba the Hutt ship exterior. Okay. Yeah, this part was definitely used during the cutscene, I remember that. Nice. Weapons, renders of the Imperial repeater rifle, assault cannon, the Packard mortar gun, and the Packard mortar gun, all of which were adjusted and scaled down to create the hero's weapons and weapon icons of Dark Forces. Very cool. Okay, that's the mortar. I wonder what the two things on top that look like eyes are actually meant to be. Like, what in-universe explanation do those have for the function of the gun? And then we're back to the repeater rifle, which looks... And it's always interesting to see the design philosophy here, because they've put a bit of a cage around it, possibly to stop bullets if they were going to be going straight out of the outside there. Boba Fett, a render of Boba Fett striking a pose. This image appeared on Dark Force's original 1995 box art and promotional materials. Yeah, Boba Fett was cool, and so when games are coming out for Star Wars, everyone wanted to capitalize on the popularity of Boba Fett, so they put him in the game. And I think in some ways he's in too many games, because in some stories it doesn't really fit. And I think it works well enough for this, but I feel like you beat Boba Fett and you don't hear about anything else of what happened with him. Like, surely he would come back and go after you. Because he didn't die, obviously. Phase 2... Oh yeah, there's Phase 3 Dark Trooper, nice. Alright, Phase 2 Dark Trooper. These diverse renders of the Phase 2 Dark Troopers have multiple purposes, including in-game sprites as well as promotional materials and advertising. Oh, that's much higher resolution than the ones that I was seeing. And they're bulky boys. That's very cool. I don't know why they have the two separate ones of the different framing, but like they cropped one of them. It works. Oh, that looks awesome. Man, the red on the Dark Trooper. He almost looks like he's got a bow tie. But that looks like it could be in a horror type film story. Like, the Dark Troopers, I would bet, if they were in a movie or a TV show or something, would be a horror element. And in a way they sort of are in this story, but you don't really feel like it's a horror element because it's like, okay, it's a tougher enemy basically. Although you do get the implications of another super weapon coming across. Oh, that's with lighting? Yeah, that... Wait, he does look like he has a bow tie there. I don't know why they have that bit underneath. I guess because it's similar to the Stormtrooper commanders that have the bit of a pauldron and that. Neck piece. Oh, and they gotta add the lens flare. Man, he looks so much more menacing in this. Damn. But yeah. That's cool. So Phase 3 Dark Trooper rendered in multiple poses for in-game sprites, as well as close-up for promotional materials and advertising. Ah, so that's the Phase 3. Honestly, I killed them so quickly and I was dodging out of the way so much that I didn't even take notice of when the Phase 3 ones came about. Gotta be honest. It didn't appear to me any different to the Phase 2s, but they do look different in these renders. And we've got the man with the golden gun and a little backpack thing. Yeah, what the heck is the function of all of these extra circly bits? I guess it looks sci-fi, but come on. Just wanted to add extra circular bits. Actually, no. I know what those are now. So it fires the main blue bolty bit out of this main barrel that's this one here. And then it fires the missiles out of the other ones. That's why it's like when you have the similar sort of gun, you can fire missiles at the same time as firing those blue energy bolts. I've got it now. So the mortar in that case, I don't know why the mortar has extras. I guess it's a rotating barrel, so you can load the extra lots in and then it flips around and then it fires. There we go. And firing Stormtrooper. These renders showcase a Stormtrooper firing their blaster under varying light conditions specifically created from promotional materials. Oh, they look good. Okay, yeah, they changed the lighting on them. Wait, various lighting conditions just means a bit darker and a bit lighter. But yeah, that looks good. I bet they also had a render from the front because actually it's even in the Dark Forces Remastered poster. They use the same sort of thing. Let me just bring up the picture here. Because this pose that they have looks a lot like this. This center stormtrooper they have here looks a lot like that pose. So I bet that they've rendered the front of the stormtrooper as well, but maybe that's lost to time a bit. Well, that's cool. Alright. We've got a pre-rendered images, concept art, Kyle-Katarn rough draft. Ha! Okay. The rough draft of Kyle-Katarn. And that's how he looks now, yeah. A big difference from the original. And then that even differs from how he looks in Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. It's interesting how it's... I mean, they got a live action actor for him in Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, so I guess then they modelled him after the live action actor. But this is a very different look. We've got, yeah, the briefing type of pose. Yeah. Jan Ors. Design sketches of Jan Ors, Kyle's trusty partner in fighting the Empire. She's lightly armoured and equipped with everything that a pilot needs. These artworks also appear in the background of briefing menus that appear between missions, so... They tidied up the artwork, obviously, yeah, so that pose is definitely what we see in the briefings. Oh, and that one. It even has the bit of pixelation of being not as quite high res. Like, not a direct scan of concept art like this one is. That's the one that's used for the briefing. Nice. Now you can clearly see her ethnicities are meant to be a little bit different based on the shape of the eyes and stuff. Oh, right. Apparently command prompt works in this menu as well. General Mock. Oh, I should read the description. General Mock is the architect of the Empire's Dark Trooper project. From conception, he was depicted as a cold, square-jawed military leader in his late 50s or early 60s and serves as the final boss. Yeah. So Darth Vader didn't need to kill him. We did. I feel it a little bit of a shame that we don't see his face when we kill him. However, it makes sense, he goes into a suit. The Dark Troopers. General Mock's deadly progeny to be put at a stop at all costs. These illustrations provide a visual representation of the development process, showcasing a remarkable level of experimentation. Notably, they highlight the intricate details of how armor, weapons, and helmets evolved across different iterations. Oh, this will be cool. So, in Insider 23, when they talked about Dark Forces, they also talked about how the original designs looked like Japanese cartoons, and how George then had to talk to them in the design process, the same as they did in the films, of how to make it uniform with the Empire, but also reaching the same sort of design philosophy. So this one looks closer to phase 2, this one looks closer to phase 3. I like the little details in here too. It's interesting how they look like they have really big filters for the air and stuff. And that was for scale, I guess. So that would be your normal Imperial pilot, and that would be your Dark Trooper, which that weapon looks a lot closer than the others to what ended up being. But even that, yeah, I can see the influence of some manga in there. And Japanese comics issue number 23 actually said. But the same sort of thing, like, yeah, you can see that. That would have been interesting to see them with a repeating weapon. Something, I guess, about the game that would have been nice, that's if they ever remake it, is to see, like, one enemy has different weapons among them, rather than having the same weapon for every single type of enemy. And I get that the era this came out, that was how the game design went, and that was the limitations they were working with. But if they were remaking it, they could have Dark Troopers with these weapons, and ones with these sorts, and ones with energy swords. Thinking of Halo right there, with this one on the right. And variations, and like some of that sort of thing would be cool to see. So we've got another pose of that one. Oh, this looks more like the Phase 1 Trooper. And that looks actually... You've got your metal spike coming out here, which is basically a sword, and then this is what they deflect your bloody blaster bolts with. Which is actually a really good way to turn around the gameplay, and I like that they added that, is that there's an enemy that can deflect your blaster bolts. So you have to go, okay, I'm using explosives, or I have to shoot at the times when he's not blocking. Yeah, these are Phase 1s. I love the detail in the mechanics. That's really cool for them. And now they have these little things that are like, okay, they will power and produce energy, maybe? Oh, that's very different. Alright. That almost looks like Meet the Robinsons if the bowler hat tried to convert people into being bowler hats. Oh, yeah. That looks very much like some, what was it, Call of Duty? With the skull mask. And we're back to the start. Okay. The Kell Dragon, illustration of a crate dragon that appeared as skeletal remains in Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. This sketch offers a visual depiction of how it could potentially manifest as a living organism, and it served as the base for Dark Horse's Kell Dragon. It is worth mentioning the final design does not include a nose ring. Now, I didn't know that before, is that they were based off of the original design of a crate dragon. Because of course I've seen a crate dragon in Knights of the Old Republic and that sort of stuff. I didn't realise they were so closely connected in. That's awesome. And the extra bits and pieces like a dinosaur are cool. That would make sense for bone to be protruding out and that kind of thing. And yeah. So I guess since Dark Forces had the Kell Dragon, future games and depictions had to go, okay, we gotta not make it look like a Kell Dragon, even though the original design was a crate dragon. Interesting. And then the Briar Blaster Pistol. A pencil sketch of the Briar Blaster Pistol provided front and sideways. Even in its preliminary form, this illustration demonstrates a well-realized representation compared to its final design. Yeah, oh, I'm Snuffleupagus, hang on. Alright. We don't have any more of this. So this is the Briar Pistol. The original Briar Pistol. Now, they added them to Star Wars The Old Republic, but I believe, and I heard on Twitter through another Expanded Universe account, that the Briar pistol appears in the Andor TV show, and so people will try to associate it with that. However, the Briar pistol is originally Dark Forces, 1995, and would do that. There it is. It looks like a revolver type too, which is cool. So I got concept art, and that's what we looked through, cutscene development. Rotoscoping. Oh, that's cool. So rotoscoping is a process by which an animator can trace over video. This technique is used in the scene where Kyle confronts a hologram on Jabba the Hutt's ship. Displayed here is Justin Chin, the artist and story lead for Dark Forces, performing the required motions for the cutscene. This is how you do it, boys. To be honest though, it would be really easy to mistake that for a girl. So we can get Kyle's award. So the video shows Justin Chin performing the scene where Mon Mothma presents a medal to Kyle at the award ceremony. In the final version, Kyle is not seen physically taking the case, meaning this video is unused as a reference. I love how they found all of these and put them in. And yeah, very basic. Neat, down and out. Presented here as a temporary concept art for a cutscene that was ultimately removed. It would have played if Kyle fell at the hands of General Mock during the final battle. In this shot, we see a helmetless Mock in Phase 3 Dark Trooper armor, hovering menacingly over Kyle. A dead ass though. Damn, Mock. Like, what are we looking at here, really? If they ever do a remake, I hope that they add in some of these scenes, and if they do, okay, falling at the hands of General Mock during the final battle, maybe you could have unique animations that play for every death to a different type of enemy. Oh, is he the Phase 3 Dark Trooper? So the Phase 3s included organic components? Because as far as I understand it, the Dark Troopers were all robotic before. A close-up of General Mock as he tightens his grip on his assault cannon. This and the remaining two shots have no corresponding files that indicate they made it far enough to be usable as in-game cutscenes. See, these sorts of things. Man, now I would love a faithful remake so much. Like, just to give it some more make it more dynamic with some cutscenes. So you have cutscenes more at the start of every mission. Maybe instead of the written briefing, they have a voiceover for the briefing, and they have Kyle there listening to Jan or whatever. You can still pick your difficulty and whatever, or you pick your difficulty from the start of the game and it goes through, but I feel like per level's easier, and I like that philosophy with the original. Cultivate. With a firm grip on his assault cannon, General Mock steadies his aim. Okay, yeah, that resets too quick. Man, these should all be gifts now. Someone needs to make gifts of all these. And then in this concluding frame, from Kyle's perspective gazing up at him, General Mock unleashes the fury of his assault cannon, ultimately bringing an end to his hero. Bro, he's headless! But this is definitely the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. So you know what happened, right? is that Phase 1 and 2 were robotic, and you can have the Phase 2 Dark Troopers all over the place, and they put lots of money into them. But the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, I'm realizing now, is General Mock, and that's why it looks different too. Includes someone inside of a mech suit, basically. Why is the cursor there? I didn't mean to leave it there. And like, they've already got the original vision of what was planned out for the death animation against General Mock. General Mock, yeah. So that would have been really cool to see. I love seeing all this. Alright, game development. Oh boy. Instead of making a map editor from scratch, LucasArts opted to take this 1922 CAD computer-aided design tool and create their own extensions to make it suitable for creating maps. Objects placed in maps were properly defined via blocks. So something that I've seen, I saw an article of someone saying, is that LucasArts had figured out multi-threading in a very different way than we have nowadays, and so they had to sort of reverse engineer that to make it work for the modern way that they make a game. So we'll see if they mention that too. Which approximate the actual 3D properties of the object adjacent to most levels in model space would be a block with various information about the level on it. Textures were also placed on the surfaces from AutoCAD and offsets modified with a custom version of Dark Forces. In addition to this, proper layer management was done to group geometry together appropriately, which was required by the maps. After doing this, the AutoCAD.dxf files, Dark Forces files, were then converted to Dark Forces LEV files. So this does look like I took out all the notation, made the lines green, and that's the map. They use this to create 3D models with textures and animations. A lot of this goes over my head because I don't know game development that much, especially the older type stuff. They use it to render animated sprites for enemies such as Boba Fett, Stormtroopers, Dark Troopers, and so on. The Moldy Crow, there we go. That's pretty neat to see the Boba Fett one. I don't know what the different colours mean. Deluxe Paint Animation. Released in 1990, it was a graphics editor used by LucasArts in the creation of sprites for Dark Forces. The application provided a powerful spriting tool and was especially useful for editing a great deal of frames for palette graphics. In-house tools would then be used to convert from Deluxe Paint's animations formats to those used by Dark Forces. Oops. Oh, here. Bloomin' Tranny! Again! Kicked or punched. That makes sense. They have a different reaction whether they kicked or punched versus to if they were shot. Oh, look! They called him Bosk. They literally just make all the Trandoshans Bosk. Alright. Framer. Sophisticated internal tool used by LucasArts to create cutscene files. Okay. Framer allowed the team to take full advantage of the powerful cinematic engine introduced by Star Wars X-Wing. Landry, yeah, so X-Wing and TIE Fighter came out before Dark Forces, as far as I know. Framer bears the names of Edward Callum and Larry Holland, both being main designers and project managers on the X-Wing series. This is part of what I love about looking into the history of LucasArts, is that there were some games that built off previous stuff, and then of course, but you also have that the games innovated the same way that the movies innovated. Like, I think the biggest example is the prequels with the CGI. I think they've got more attention because people aren't as keen on the CGI nowadays. But George Lucas pushed people to innovate with the CGI, and that's why you can have CGI that's as good as it is now, rather than it being coming out a bit later. I guess it still would have come out, but would not have been as far as it is now. And so you have LucasArts paving the way in the gaming industry too, which is very cool. So yeah, a lot of this I don't get. Oh, look what we have here is exec 2 star. So that could be the Executor Star Destroyer, and then exec 2, and then B Darth B. B Darth B, but Darth B, but B Darth B, B Darth B, B Darth B, but B Darth B, but B Darth B. Oh, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Macbow, M Backbow. Oh yeah, I'm not sure what that would be. But okay. They're working on Exec 2, which is General Mock and Darth Vader speaking on the Executor, which makes sense. So Exec 2, and then okay, color palettes and things. Very cool to see. Alright. Scan Kyle Katarn's crest. Oh, I don't think I've actually seen this before. An illustration of Kyle Katarn's crest seen in the final game at the bottom left of the PDA, and on the side of his ship the multi-crew. I have seen it. I just didn't realise it was his crest. I thought it may have been a different sort of one. The second image shows his crest scaled down in monochrome alongside the emblem of the Rebel Alliance, which was used for the PDA early on in development. I love it. I love that they came up with a really unique crest for him. I wonder if thinking of, oh, there's a unique crest for Kyle Katarn, that's where they thought of Galen Marek having the crest that gave it to the Alliance and did all of that, would have added into it. That's really cool. That's interesting how when it's lower res, it looks quite different. Because it looks like sort of some alien with little noodly arms coming out of it, maybe tentacles. And yet here it very much looks like spikes. Very cool to see. Alright. Sprite size comparison. Alongside an early iteration of a Stormtrooper sprite, this image shows the size and scale of all the sprites in Dark Forces relative to each other. Oh, that's quite interesting to each other. Okay. So we've got Kyle, of course, and then we've got Stormtrooper, Nymph Officer, Mock, Det Officer, Detention Officer, which might be the black dudes. I mean, the dudes wearing black. They're the ones that look the same as firing the Death Star laser. I really thought Mock was the same size as the Dark Troopers, let's be honest. Oh, and that's the early concept art for the Dark Trooper. So that was meant to be the... I guess what they might have done is that they had a separate General Mock sprite for use in the cutscenes. And that really makes sense for why he fits inside the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Nice. And then they, of course, they have Bosk, but it's 1S because it was a project file and they didn't bother to fix the spelling. The Probe, Boba Fett. Why is a crate dragon the Kell Dragon. Only that much bigger. I thought they would be a lot bigger. I guess narratively it makes much more sense that the Dark Troopers are larger than all of the other enemies, because narratively they are the biggest threat. And who knows, I would like to see a Kell Dragon versus a Dark Trooper. Because if Kyle Katarn, little Kyle over here, can punch a Kell Dragon to death, what can a Dark Trooper do? That'll be a real test of skill. Agent menu, early days. Early set of images shows a drastically different ancient menu than that of the final game. Graphics are early and the flow of the menus is different, with missions being selected in a separate view from the ancient selection. In addition, difficulty selection is present in this menu instead of in briefings as it would end up later in development. What a quote. Kyle confess anything. That's what Jan said. Alright. So what's this early menu look like? That's interesting. Okay. I guess that the issue that they ran into here is that you couldn't custom pick, oh, I want to replay a mission with the same save file. And so they were on the mission in Remaster, and yet in mission history maybe they could go back, but it seemed like, okay, going to a menu with the mission selection makes more sense to me. Oh, I guess that is in mission history. Start mission. Oh, they always had that. Nashada was misspelled. You got people working on the game that don't even know how to spell the planets. Fools. And Ramsey's head is a different spelling than what ended up coming out. I get them calling it robotics. But that's interesting. So yeah, that seems a bit weird. I do prefer the going into the missions and then selecting the most recent one. Does feel better than just going start mission from there. Enter your name. And I think that the UI worked out a bit nicer looking because of those changes. Agent menu taking shape. Early iterations of the ancient menu closely resemble the final design. However, the difficulty selection has yet to be moved to the briefing screen, and the button for removing an agent is still labelled as Remove Pilot. This is a holdover from Star Wars X-Wing, from which the Landry system used for menus and cutscenes. It's interesting how much of this was reused from X-Wing. But there we go, yeah. I guess they looked at it and went, okay, we can do this better. Early briefing screen depicts a less minimal approach than what would make it into the final game. At this stage there's no difficulty selection present, and the overall design is closer to that of the final menu, portraying a more diegetic view of how a car might receive his transmissions. That makes sense. If you're not sure, diegetic means that it's in the world. So and the main way I've heard it is diegetic versus non-diegetic music. So diegetic music is, say you walk into a cantina and the Jizz Wailers are playing a cantina band, and it's figuring down on modal nodes in the universe, and so you're hearing it in there. Whereas non-diegetic music is stuff that isn't present in the actual movie, but us as the audience hear it. So a good example is in A New Hope, when Luke's looking at the twin suns, we hear the not the music that's going on right now. Maybe I can turn that down. I'll be able to. Sound mixer options and volume mixer, and let's just do that for a second. And when Luke's looking at the twin suns, goes do 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 do. That's non-diegetic music because he's not hearing it in universe in the story. It's just for the audience to hear. And that's where it goes. This is a more diegetic view of he receives his information for the mission on his PDA, which I think is a really cool way of doing it. I almost wish they kept it in a way, but I do like that, okay, some of the briefings are in person, so you wouldn't have this for everything. PDA evolution, alongside old HUD elements, and evolution here is presented from concept to near final PDA, which initially had a simpler metallic grey appearance. However, as the design progressed, additional colours such as brown, green and red were incorporated to enhance its aesthetic appeal. These colours are consistently maintained throughout the development process, resulting in the final design. Yeah, that's very different. I wonder what the original Doom stuff looked like. Okay, so they've got random strings of numbers for some things. That's looking a bit closer. Yeah. I don't get what this top bit's meant to be. And that's where we get the one like we have now, and yeah. So I went from that to that. It made the text pop a bit more, and when you click it, the red lights up, and it's like a, yeah, I like that. That's interesting to see, yeah. And the leather looks more worn. Yeah, it fits the Briar pistol design as well. HUD early design options. A variety of HUD concepts are displayed here. At the bottom is an earlier, more Doom-like HUD, with all the weapons you collect represented by numbers, and a horizontal design that covers the entire bottom width of the screen. There's an ammo readout on the left, showcasing 5 red circles that may have been redesigned into the game's green light battery indicators. You know, I played through the whole game again, and I did not realise these were the battery indicators. I was just like, I'm not overusing my battery stuff. Okay, pretty neat. And we don't have more of those. And Grand from photo to sprite. I'll be back in a moment, I just need an intermission. Alright, we're back at it. The Gran, originally bearing the name of Reyes, a pre-existing enemy character that made his debut in Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi in 1983. In the early stages of development, the photographs of the action figure were taken to provide a reference for the creation of the animated sprites. Their cameras look like this. Man, cameras have come a long way. Well, it even has a funny thing with the white at the bottom of it. Oh, and there's even a black. Why is that extra blurry? Is that to get an idea of the sprite, maybe? A black and white one. Oh yeah, and here we have them, and oh, those blooming grenades. Yeah, I think the end look looks a lot closer to what ended up happening and looking in the prequels compared to what we see here. It looks a bit stockier, which is actually a nicer look for them, I think. Early Packard mortar gun. Sporting a completely different look than the final design, this version of the Packard mortar gun features a rotating cylindrical barrel with the front end closer similar to the Imperial repeater rifle. So they had them raised a bit too, interesting. And with a little bit of detail on the barrel. The little bits of detail I kinda miss because it is just smooth grey. But I get why they changed it. It doesn't look as Star Warsy, or not as much different sci-fi anyway. Early PDA weapon screen. Prior to everything being laid out on a single screen, as in the case in retail, we see here a PDA weapon screen that requires scrolling. These high resolution gun sprites, while not using the original game, ended up in the manual for Dark Forces as well as a strategy guide. So they did use them a bit more. That's pretty neat. Assault cannon, smart missiles. Yeah. So they say what they use. We've got modified Stoker rifle. Claymore mine. Are they called IM mines in the original release? Autogun and all that, yeah. And then palette images. We see visualizations of the 256 color palettes that Dark Forces uses, as well as the color map tables from dimming certain colors based on distance and lighting. Jedi Knight power. That must be why they renamed the series Jedi Knight, because it goes Dark Forces and then Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2 to Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. 1994. I guess they couldn't really call it Jedi Knight when there were no Jedi in it. And I think Dark Forces really works well for the Dark Troopers. So, yeah. Oh no, that's one of the levels, is it? Secret base palette? Okay, and then we have the distance and shading and that. That makes sense. How much should the colors fade? Color fade to clear. Yeah, distance from mine. Okay, I missed some of that. Okay. Very cool. But now we gotta play the Avenger. A playable prototype for the first stage in Dark Forces, taking place on board a Star Destroyer. This level is included in the consumer's electronic show demo, and some images from it ended up in promotional material. While aspects were recycled into other parts of the game, the Avenger itself was ultimately cut due to the concerns of it being too difficult for new players. So let's see then. if it was too difficult for new players. Possibly. I played through the whole game now and then I'm going to play it. But we'll see. I'm quite interested in this because they mentioned, I noticed, to reiterate, in Souls Insider issue 23, they mentioned the Avenger as the first level of the video game. And then obviously plans changed because of difficulty to new players. And they had the stealing the Death Star plans level, which apparently the Death Star plans were easier to steal than all of the other levels, because as levels progress they would get more difficult, so on and so forth. Right, let's go. So we've got our original looking. Oh, that's neat. They put the Kyle Katarn logo in the bottom left. I don't even remember if they did that in the base game. Hang on. Oh, pff, I forgot the quit the whole game and not just exit out of the level. Be back in a moment. I just wanted to have a look. Jump into a level. Let's go into the final level. I think I've got all of the weapons in that then. So let's go the arc hammer. So, yeah, the final version here has the Kyle Katarn crest in there. And then the weapons look like this. They don't say what ammo they use or what options. So it kind of would have been nice to have what the secondary fire did versus the primary fire. But oh well. Can I abort mission? That's right. That's to do that. Alright, well we're gonna go into the vault and play the Avenger level. Let's do it. Where's that dude? I can hear him. Bloody turrets already? Oh man. No wonder they thought it was too difficult. Wait. They can shoot through the grating. They can shoot through that. Oh, that's the dead stormtrooper that clips through the bottom. Okay, I thought it was a turret or some different enemy thing. Okay. This is the original aspect ratio and this is a remastered. Okay, so they keep it, they're using what textures that they have remastered, you know. Okay, blue key. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad in the actual final game they didn't put the bloody turrets in the first level. Oh my goodness. And it's doable, but it's a pain in the buttocks. Oh, some of this was reused. Look at this area. I played this just earlier. Yeah, parts of that have been reused for the Arc Hammer. Or the Executor. I'm having a brain fart. Which one exactly now? There's a TIE fighter in there. This will still be it's still very much the Dark Forces experience as far as the game goes itself. So it serves really well as a demo. Oh damn, there's a lot of stormtroopers. Yeah, I can definitely see where some of the level design is reused in the Arc Hammer and the Executor. And what was it? Yeah, the Executor was where we were transferring the cargo ship. Oh, there's a yellow key. Alright. Which was the TIE fighter. Wow, such detail. Why am I here? What was even the point of opening the TIE fighter room? Alright. I guess maybe they thought that that could have been something in a future thing for the story. Maybe we're escaping a TIE fighter? You got a yellow key for that. I don't know if this level has an ending. Does it give us objectives? No. So we can just explore this to our heart's content. Which I shall in a moment. This pause menu is still okay. See, change the aspect ratio. See if we have a look here. Yeah, the assets that are reused in other levels are updated in the remaster, so that's pretty cool, but then others aren't. Like, it's kind of weird that the blaster rifle isn't, and the Briar pistol stays the same, and yet the environmental stuff is different. The textures. I would have thought that they would add all of it in rather than part of it. I get making it full widescreen. So there should be a blue key somewhere. There's bloody turrets! Bloody turrets! Okay, up here. No, I don't want to be shot by the turrets. Thank you very much. Okay. If this was the first level to the game, that would be crazy for the difficulty. Because I feel like the first level is supposed to ease you into the normal things. Like the gameplay, you've got some normal mobs. Like, if they didn't have the turrets, it'd probably be alright. And possibly the amount of stormtroopers in some areas could have been on hard mode instead of lower difficulties. I think that would work. But the turrets, man, if you hadn't encountered turrets before, they're gonna mess you up. Let me go back over here. Alright. Blue key. So this is the demo, right? I would imagine it's the demo version of the level. So I don't know if the blue key exists. Guess I'll see. We got, oh, they've done an actual map for it. That's neat. Okay, we got no other levels. Something that isn't very helpful to me, really. Because, like, okay, well, I already know where I've been. This feels like something that opens up somehow. What is the top of this table meant to be? Space? Okay, that jump was a bit further. So I'd imagine that this, like, maybe Carl stole the TIE fighter and escaped. In the original version of like how that would have ended up. And yeah, so he would have needed to clear this area and open up the door so that he could fly through. So yeah, I can't interact with it at all. But that kind of idea would be fly it through here and out into space. Okay, we can't jump out in there, just testing the limits. This is where in the other level they had the 3 extra lives and the 2 revives. I'm not sure how to get those still at all. I guess there has to be a way around there and flick a switch and then it raises up the area. Yeah. I could be searching fruitlessly for this blue key for all I know. Possibly, this is where the Death Star plans were. If they still decided to keep the Death Star plans in there, and oh, I like that idea. That this raises up into the roof when they're not having a meeting. That's some really cool environmental storytelling there. Of like, here's the function of this table. Oh, did I get the blue key somewhere? I didn't even realize. Huh? Oh no, this is the other end. My hot take. Do you have any more context for a hot take? Because I don't particularly know what is a hot take in some areas. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I didn't know if you had anything else to help me think. I guess if we're thinking about hot takes... Oh, Alt brings up the map. Okay. But then it... I can't get rid of it. Okay. Well then. If I'm thinking about hot takes... In the expanded universe, the Star Wars expanded universe community, the expanded universe is example, but it could be done better. I don't know if it's really a hot take. I feel like once I explain it, that it'd be valid points for people. I mean, Star Wars in general, Filoni's the worst thing that happened to Star Wars. Excluding Disney stuff. I mean, it's weird for me because I feel like a lot of my opinions towards it aren't uncommon. That's why I don't think of it as a hot take. And as far as other stuff, I don't actually know what they're doing now. Can I get rid of the map anyhow? Oh, that's interesting to see how the map condenses. And the lines are in bold, it looks like. But the lines are thicker. F8 is show the hand. Yeah. I don't know how to get rid of the map. Let me try pressing every single button. Oh! Hang on a minute. I held Q and that's the weapon wheel. So I heard that they added a weapon wheel in for controller support. I never pressed Q. I just pressed the numbered buttons. So 2 is the briar pistol, 3 is the blaster rifle, 4 is the thermal detonator, 5 is the Imperial repeater, 6 is the green blasty gun, I forget the name of it, 8's the mortar, 0 is the big badass gun, the anti-dark trooper gun. I didn't know there was a button on PC to look at the weapon wheel. I'll have a look at that. I feel like the blue key does not exist, and also I can't get rid of this map, so let's abort mission for now. And go into the R camera because I've got all the guns there. Yeah, there we are. There's the weapon wheel. Oh, I'm glad I can show that. So on controller, you would use this weapon wheel to change guns, I guess. You can see how much ammo is on them. Yeah, thermal detonator, Imperial repeater, yeah. So this is something that they added in the remaster, is this weapon wheel. And of course, you've just got his fist, hand to hand. Iron mines, not claymores. Yeah, it's good. Hot take. That map also does look like a gun. It looks like a blaster rifle, doesn't it? Now that I see that. I have reached 100% achievements. Apparently, on GOG. So I think that they mainly have achievements for completing the levels, which is cool. I love it. I'm trying to think what would be a hot take. I mean, I think TCW has to exist in the expanding universe in some way. I think that the majority of the expanding universe community want to try and discount the 2008 Clone Wars. But especially given the time material that is expanded universe only, it needs some sort of place in the expanding universe. And I would place the TV show at the same level as its tie-in material. So my headcanon is that it's S-canon, which in my custom canon tier, because the actual canon tiers do not apply to the actual canon status of a material. That's why I made my own for my timeline. It's S-canon. And so the events happen, but they're not exactly as depicted, and even up to various details like whose Padawan Ahsoka is and that sort of stuff is up in the air. Like, it doesn't need explaining, but it is a way of going, okay, that doesn't directly contradict stuff that happens in other material. Here's my other hot take. I probably have some hot takes, but when you say, what's my hot take? I can't really think of much. Right, I probably need a topic to work with, and then I just say my opinion, and it may or may not be a hot take. I think that ends up happening. Because for a bunch of things, like a bunch of other things, I am not hugely in the fandom of, and so that happens. But yeah, I think I've pretty much explored all of the Dark Forces remaster now. Let me double check that, because I want to make sure that I've looked at everything I can with it, other than I know I can play through more of the levels and find more of the secrets. I actually kind of want to show. This is the menu that we've seen for the Dark Forces Remaster. So we can add a new agent and you have a new save file and all of that. Oh yeah, so they've got a green tick here. I guess that would be easy on the missions. Yeah, I've explored everything there. I'll open up Steam and launch the original Dark Forces. And hopefully it comes up on the bloomin' stream. Otherwise, we'll have to just show the screen and see how it changes from there. But here we are, the original Dark Forces. Which is running in DOSBox. Oh, I can't see if my bloomin' stream's showing it. Hang on, I've got to look on my phone. Because if I alt-tab out of it, it's gonna screw itself over. Apparently not. Okay. So yeah, I finished these on medium. Actually, I think if I can... Top right screen. DOSBox. See how small it turns up when you alt-tab out of it? And if I alt-enter, it should go full screen. Okay, it looks like it's working. So this is the original Dark Forces. And I've got Callum here, my agent. And we've got... a clear difference in music. But they sort of revamped it but kept the 8-bit feel in the remaster. Hey Chachi! I cannot see my chat outside of my phone at the moment. But this is the original Dark Forces. Obviously things are lower res. You cannot mouse scroll on the briefing. Oh, don't lie, lock on. I've already won. And there is left and right mouse movement, but up and down is page. Page up goes down and page down goes up. See how crazy that is? But that's the original Dark Forces, hey? Man, it just feels so much worse to play at the moment. But there it is. I'm also a little bit... I didn't center my weapon. But there we are. We can see how close it actually is to the original. I can almost run both at once, but yeah. Quit to DOS, that's fine. Because DOS is Windows quick game. The Orca controls make it quite inaccessible. And you alt-tab out of it, and it goes in the tiny box, and you have to know to press Alt-Enter to make it bigger again, full screen. It's just... the remaster has been needed for so long, and now it's finally here, and it's great. Definitely play the remaster. Yeah, how are you going, Chachi? The only game left of the Dark Forces Jedi Knight series to remaster or port to a modern console is Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. Which I would love. They don't need to revamp the graphics too much. But if they could make the gameplay of the lightsaber especially more similar to Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, That will be so much better. Because, I mean, I think on my YouTube you can see how the gameplay is for Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. And you can tell it's very dated. Where is it? I've got Mysteries of the Sith here. That'll probably do. Oh no, Dark Forces 2 is here. So obviously I've got my playlist of Dark Forces 2 here. Got me playing through it because it's good. Our weekend's gone fairly well. It's been prepping. I have to get up early tomorrow. Yeah, it's still tomorrow. It's 11:30 now. To go do some work, but hopefully it won't interfere with my Wednesday stream. But no, not a hot date. I think especially in the Jarek fight, hang on, you can see the clumsiness of the lightsaber combat. Oh, I'm behind myself. There. Because especially, you sort of have to keep doing that. Okay, run. Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, you're Jared. And there's a lot of clumsiness to the lightsaber combat. Of course, I think you also have to cheese Jarek a bit. But this really needs a remaster with the combat system of Jedi Academy. Oh, wrong button. If I can go back and see where I have Jedi Academy. I mean, I feel like it's free real estate. Just to... I don't know if it would cross the line to call it a remake if you change the gameplay that much. But I feel like it's only in the natural progression of the gameplay anyway. Here we have Jedi Academy. Let's see. I never use a gun in Jedi Academy. So let's go into this. Our resident Jedi Scholar Tion recently... Oh yeah! This was in lockdowns when I tried a beard. And I was trying putting a little... thing around myself, but yeah, this looks so much better. Nice. So, and I wonder if Alan Wake looks better, like if Alan Wake took the cue to do the cinematic dodges and stuff from stuff in Star Wars games. That would be interesting. Look awkward. I mean, I don't usually pay attention to how I look myself. Oh, yeah. So... I mean, there are guns, but I hardly ever use them in this game. Because the lightsaber combat is just so good. Other than... Why did I keep getting stuck by the drains in that? If you do it right, one hit will kill an opponent. But that's the nuance of the combat system, is that you can do that. From Max Payne. Yeah, I wonder where he was inspired to do the slow-mo from. When did that game come out? Out of interest? Oh, I clicked the wrong button again. I'm gonna have a look. 1999. So... Oh, Max Payne was 2001, the first Max Payne. So let me double check, Jedi Outcast came in 2002, so it's the other way around. The first Max Payne, if it has that, then made it so that Jedi Outcast copied it and had slow-mo on the kills, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we finished Dark Forces Remaster. It's a good time.